What happened to your dreams? You had so many of them, and you pursued none. This sucks, right? I was in the same place a year ago, but now everything's changed. And I want to talk about what I did to actually chase my dreams, because it's not that hard, even if you don't have time for them. So in this video, I want to teach you everything I know on not losing the dreams you have, the dreams you want to pursue, or the goals you want to achieve out of focus. And I do that by showing you some notes I wrote down and by recording the screen so you can see everything I can see. Okay, so where to get started? I think a nice starting point is to re-ask ourselves this question every once in a while. So what happened to my dreams? And first of all, it helps, of course, if you would start by writing them out, by letting yourself know what your actual dreams are. So for example, your dream might be to one day, let's say it's a little bit materialistic, but let's say you want to own a timepiece that you can gift generations down the way over and over again. So you can start a tradition. And I was about to write down own a timepiece, but then I reminded myself of a framework I've learned from Brian Tracy. And he says if you have dreams or if you have goals, you want to write them down in the present tense, which is a huge mindset shift. So you don't want to, but you become the person that owns that thing. So to make this a little bit more visual, let's say this is you and this is your identity, and you want to start by setting identity-based goals. And what do I mean by that? Well, many of us say, I do it like this. I want to is the answer then. I want this, I want that, I want this. It is pretty much not ideal, to say the least. The better approach would be to make the change coming from you, shaping the identity, and in the end, making the identity to the, pretty much you 2.0. So what do I mean by that? If you say, I want to run every day for half an hour. Okay, I want to run too, but do you actually do it? So if your dream would be to run every day, to get fit, to get lean, healthy, do you actually do it? That's the question you should ask. And probably not if you just say, I want to run, I want to achieve this thing. Nothing changes. But a mindset shift in this case would be to say that you already are the person that does that thing. So for example, I am a runner. So you start identifying with a person that runs. And somebody who runs is not somebody who does nothing and sits around inside all day. Think about it. So this is a shift to say, if I'm a runner, why am I not running? So I need to get outside right now. This is at least what works pretty well for me. I am an entrepreneur. I am a creator. I make content that teaches you everything I know, I've learned, I will learn, I'm learning right now. So for me, it would be, I am a creator. And what I also like to call it is I am an artist, because I like the term and I like the definition of being able to create something out of nothing, to make something original that is not inspired, even though it pretty much downstream always is a derivative of something else you've experienced. But I like to call it more of an artist than a creator, because creators are pretty much always connected, in my mind at least, to influencers, which is a terrible term for the thing we want to do. We don't want to influence, we want to, at least I want to teach you, not influence you. This sounds so negative. It's a wrong term in my opinion. So I am a creator. I am an artist. And what do artists do? They make art. They create. And not once a year, every day. Every single day. So what's about the first example, the timepiece? Well, this is a goal you can achieve not today. You can't do this timepiece thingy every single day, but it's a goal you can work up to. It's a dream you might have. So let's title it also in the present tense. I own a timepiece. Well, now it gets easy. Now comes the easiest part. If you already own it in your mind, what did you do to get it? And then reverse engineer that goal. So these are your timepiece action steps. If you want to own a timepiece and you have something explicitly you want to purchase, let's say it is, let's say $10,000, and you want to hit that mark to purchase this timepiece. What do you need to do to earn $10,000? Well, let's say, for example, you need 10 times $1,000. And this will make sense in a second. How can you get $1,000 10 times over again? For example, by newsletter sponsorships. Okay, so now I need to write a newsletter. Well, what do I write my newsletter about? Well, something at least you are uniquely good at. And what that is, you can find a lot of videos on my channel where I teach you how to evaluate what you're uniquely good at. Just have a look at some previous videos. Everything you need will be found there. So let's now say you have evaluated that you are really good teaching people, for example, how bicycles work. And you write a newsletter about it on a weekly basis. Now let's say you need a newsletter audience of 100,000 people. And I know this is a huge number, but it's just hypothetical. You need 100,000 subscribers, and then you get paid, and it's definitely overshot. You can already get paid 1,000 per as a sponsorship with an audience of maybe 10,000 newsletter subscribers, because if you are an expert in the thing you do, you have a very niche, very targeted audience that has a lot of money to solve the problems and issues. For example, building a custom bicycle, for example. And then you just need 10 weeks, for example. If you send it on a weekly basis, you need 10 weeks to generate the 10K to finally achieve the ultimate dream goal. So now the question is, of course, how do you get an audience of 100,000 people on your newsletter? And this is pretty simple. So I think you are now able to understand the process and the mental model of reverse engineering something. You keep asking questions down the line, always down the line. And how do you get 100,000 people? For example, there are multiple options. One would be to make content on the internet. This is what I'm doing. Another option would be to run ads to get people to sign up to. Another one would be to, I don't know, hit up your friends or your network, or ask people that you know that are also interested in the same topic if they want to read about this. So there are endless options. These are just 3 simple ones. And that way, it probably, let's say it takes a year. So you know that in a year's time, today in a year, starting from now, you only need 10 weeks to get to your timepiece. To then finally achieve that huge goal of yours, so you can do this with that goal. You absolutely smash that goal. But now, the question from the beginning is, if you once had a dream like this, what happened to it? Why don't you pursue your dream? Please start reverse engineering the process you need to do, you need to follow to achieve your dream. I don't want to be some guru, but I want to tell you that if your goal is to become a runner, if you are a runner, if you identify as one, why aren't you running? If you are a content creator, why aren't you creating content? If you are a owner of a timepiece like that, why don't I see it on your wrist? Why? Because you don't put in the work necessary, at least not frequently enough to get to where you want to go. So the simple lesson of this video is to keep doing what you're doing, because you're already halfway there if you made the first step, and you are finally there if you never take the last step. This is the learning I can give you. Just keep going. You will figure out many things along the way. You will learn, you will become infinitely smart, and one day you'll see how your knowledge compounds. Because knowledge doesn't add up, it compounds. So for example, if I have, let's say, I do it always in this nice term. So let's say you solve math equations or something like that. You have a knowledge level, let's say of 2, then of 4, then of 8, then of 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, 1024. You get it. It's exponential growth. But the thing is, you don't realize when the exponential growth starts to hit, because you're always on the little term that is about to explode. But that's where most people stop. So the simple lesson is keep going, keep doing what you're already doing, and you will achieve all of your dreams. And if you have made a break, if you catch yourself in some very aware moment, ask yourself this question: what happened to my dreams? Why am I not pursuing them? What's holding me back? Then write down what's holding you back and reverse engineer the goal to solve this roadblock on your way to success. For example, if you say, I have not written a newsletter every single week for a year and a half, why am I not writing a newsletter? Well, maybe because I have no inspiration. Well, how can I get inspiration? And so on and so forth. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've learned something. If you did, then check out my newsletter in the description down below. I teach you everything I know. I make it absolutely free to open source my business, to give you a clear idea of what I'm talking about, what I'm thinking, what I'm doing, what I'm succeeding, what I'm failing at, and all of the numbers along the way. So, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.